Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is Jerry Kelly with Real News Always, and boy, I got a good one for y'all today. Biden has not had a press conference since he's been inaugurated. Biden is very delirious, frail, off track on speech, really not handling his thing. Here goes a video to prove all of his mistakes. Like he'll say officer but not tell you what officer, tell you commander but not tell you what commander. He is literally losing his mind. Kamala Harris is president. Might as well be. Coming soon. Watch and see. But roll the clip. If you would like to support me, hit up my Cash App, Real News Always, with the hashtag, cash symbol. Thank you. Watch the video. Real News Network.
The president hasn't had a presser since he was inaugurated, but that doesn't mean he's not out and about and a little incoherent, like at this hardware store in Washington, D.C., where he was whisked away before he can answer questions. That's not answering questions. After the cameras were off, he asked where the peanut butter was and how much for a Sleeping Beauty VHS rental. Then there was this event where he forgot the name of his Secretary of Defense. Oh, yeah, and the name of that building called the Pentagon.
So I want to thank you both, and I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general, but the guy who runs that outfit over there.
That outfit over there, it's called the Defense Department.
There. I want to make sure we
that outfit.
Thank the secretary for all he's done to try to implement what we just
not sure what he's the secretary of. Maybe he's just a secretary
talked about, and for recommending,
and I don't know his name,
these two women for promotion. Thank you all. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
Well, at least he remembered the troops. By the way, it's Lloyd Austin, and the building is called the Pentagon. He also spoke of women's roles in combat, particularly their clothing and hairstyles.
Some of it's relatively straightforward work, where we're making good progress designing body armor that fits women properly, tailoring
well, you got to look good.
Combat uniforms for women, creating maternity flight suits, updating requirements for their hairstyles. And some of it is
because you've got to look fabulous when you're in battle.
Going to take it's an intensity of purpose and mission.
Did he say maternity flight suits? I think he did. Here's the president, apparently ready for questions when he was completely shut down once again.
I'm going to ask some questions now. The press is going to leave, and I'm going to...
Oops, somebody must have tripped over the cord. Yeah. Who's ready for some hot sake? Here's Jen Psaki, the president's spokesperson, explaining why Joe's not talking to the media.
So we're 45 days into the Biden presidency, and he has yet to hold a presser. At this point in past presidencies, every president, from Reagan had addressed reporters, some of them multiple times. So why the
Yeah, but you see, he's busy. I mean, he goes to bed at 8 in the morning.
delay, and when can we expect the president to hold a press conference?
Well, first, as all of you know, the president takes questions several times a week. He took
before the mic is cut or they hustle him out of the hardware store.
Questions actually twice yesterday, which is not.
He did. He took questions, but he didn't answer them.
Opportunity for the people covering the White House to ask him about whatever news is happening on any given day. We look forward to holding a full press conference in the coming weeks before the.
We do too. I think it's going to be really entertaining.
End of the month, and we're working on setting a final date for that. And as soon as we do, we will let you all know. But this president came in during a historic crisis, two historic crises, a pandemic like the country had not seen in decades and decades.
And a couple of vaccines that were hurried to market in 10 months rather than 5 years by the former president.
And an economic downturn that left 10 million people out of work. So I think the American people would certainly understand if his focus and his energy and his attention has been on ensuring we secure enough vaccines to vaccinate all Americans.
Did she say the president's focus? I think she did, actually. Jen was also asked about the illegal migrant crisis on our southern border, making excuses about why it's happening.
Follow up on that, Jen, thanks. There are reports out there that the number of unaccompanied migrants detained at the border has tripled in the last 2 weeks to 3,200 plus. Is that number accurate?
I'm not going to confirm numbers from here. Obviously, the Department of Homeland Security and others oversee the programs and the engagement.
They call this passing the buck.
That happen at the border. I will say that there are a couple of reasons. I know Amr asked
about, at least she didn't say she's going to circle back to that.
About our kind of change in policy, but there are a couple of reasons why we think people are coming to the border. Of course,
policy.
Individuals are fleeing countries where individuals and families are, they're fleeing prosecution, fleeing violence.
And I guess this just started a couple weeks ago.
Fleeing economic hardships and other things. The region has also experienced 2 hurricanes in the fall, putting further...
We have hurricanes in this country, too, and we don't flee to Mexico.
...stress on the conditions in these countries and the circumstances that are facing individuals. And all of this is taking place during a global pandemic that has impacted other countries' economies, placing undue hardships on its people.
Wow. She's just a laundry list of excuses, isn't she? Yeah, really nothing has changed since last year, but who's in the White House? And, of course, policy. Yeah, it's policy. Yeah, there's no better example than illegals all showing up with matching shirts on the border with the president's name on them. Yeah.
Hundreds of migrants showed up at the U.S.-Mexico border wearing Biden 2020 T-shirts and demanding that President Biden allow them into the country. This is at the San Isidro.
Now, these are the poorest of the poor, and yet they've all got brand new Biden shirts.
Crossing port in Tijuana. The T-shirt.
I have got to open a Biden shirt shop in Tijuana.
Show Biden's 2020 presidential campaign logo and the words, "Please let us in," written on them. The migrants, who are from Mexico, Central America, Haiti, and Cuba, are petitioning the president to allow them to enter into the United States while they wait for their court dates.
Now I've got to also invest in a arson supply shop in Minneapolis for the George Floyd trial. Here is Jen doing everything she can to avoid the words border crisis.
Is this a crisis at the border?
Look, I don't think we need to sit here and put new labels on what we have already conveyed is challenging. What we have conveyed is a top priority for the president, what our policy teams are working on every single day. There was a trip to the border.
So I guess there's no longer a midlife crisis.
This weekend,
it's a midlife difficulty.
Are working over the course.
I'm going to get a Harley.
Of every day since then on putting in place policies that can help address what we're seeing and help ensure that we are keeping
the border difficulty.
These kids safe and moving them as quickly as possible from Border Patrol facilities.
Here she is doing it once again.
Immigration. Do you believe that you have a crisis at the border, and is the government now
crisis? What is this word crisis? I have never heard of it.
Acting as if you had a crisis at the border?
Well, certainly, having unaccompanied minors travel across the border, and so many that we had to open a new facility.
These are children actually shoved out into the desert without their parents. I'd say this is a crisis.
Is something that we take incredibly seriously, and we
it's serious, but it's not a crisis.
Are eager to, of course, address humanely and with the focus of keeping them safe. I don't think I'm going to put new labels on it from here or from the podium, but it is a priority of the administration.
You know what?
It's a priority of our...
Crisis is not a new term. Now, she also stated once again that the president supports athletes born as boys being able to pummel your daughter in sports.
Well, first, let me say the president's position on the rights of transgender kids to play sports is clear. He signs an executive order, and he believes transgender rights are human rights and wants to see kids have the opportunity to...
Say that hurdler has quite a big Adam's apple.
...to play sports and participate in a range of activities.
And pummel daughters.
I would say...
I don't see a lot of people born girls competing in boys' athletics.
We expected, as there often is with Votoramas, there to be a range of amendments that he would oppose, and this certainly would have been one of them.
And I wouldn't call it a crisis.
But I don't have anything more to read out for you.